Hey, welcome back. It is that time of the month again. It is time for my July reading wrap up. I read like 9 books this month, which was significantly better than last month, and I'm halfway through another book already. So there's a good chance I finish ACOWAR tonight, but I'm not going to include that in this video. So let's just get into it. So the very first book that I read this month was Crave by Tracy Wolff. If you watched my reading vlog, you know that I read this in like 2 days. I did audiobook majority of it. This is the first book I actually have ever audiobooked, and I actually really liked the audiobook for this one, so I'll definitely be doing that for the rest of them. If you do not know, Crave is essentially about this girl who her parents die, so she goes to live with her uncle at a school he runs in Alaska. And there are some supernatural creatures at the school, and she doesn't know it, and she gets tangled up very quickly with some of these creatures like vampires and witches, and something kind of bad is going on at this school. So I don't really know what else to say without spoiling it, but that's what it's about. I did give it 4 stars. I really truly, when my friend, if you watched my July TBR, you know most of these books were chosen by my friends. I wasn't happy when Maddie chose this book for me because I didn't think I would like it. But then I ended up really loving it, and I like texted him the whole time, and I was like, dude, I apologize for any terrible thing I said to you about choosing this book because I actually have devoured it. So I'm really excited to continue this series. I don't know, I feel like there's mixed reviews on how the rest of the series goes, so we'll have to see. But I did really enjoy this, and it was giving me very much so, not really Twilight vibes, but the Twilight vibes were slightly there. The next book that I read in July was picked by my friend Kathleen, and that was A Touch of Malice. So I had read all of them up until this book, and I was like 100 pages into this book, and I had just like stopped. If you do not know, this is a Hades and Persephone retelling. There are actually like 2 series. So there's the Hades and Persephone series, which is like Touch of Darkness, Touch of Ruin, Touch of Malice. These are told in Persephone's point of view. And now there's a Hades spinoff, essentially, which is retelling each of these books, but from Hades' POV. I tend to like the Hades POV better than the Persephone ones, but I did actually really enjoy this book. I gave it 4 stars. So this is the 3rd book in that series, and things are starting to ramp up. I also have this in the same, I think, reading vlog as Crave. The ending of this book was wild. So I went and got Game of Gods the other day, which is the next one in the Hades POV for this, and I'm very excited to see where this goes. I cannot wait for this series to like wrap up and like to really know where it goes. But I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I've liked this series for a while now, and I thank you, Kathleen, for making me finally get off my butt and finish this book, since I've just been like holding it for so long, and now I can like catch up. Next up, I did my reread of A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. If you don't know what ACOTAR is at this point, I don't know how you don't. I understand probably some people may not, but it is the first one's kind of a Beauty and the Beast retelling, but we follow, you know, Feyre, who is taken by a fae and forced to live there, and there's some things going on that are not great, and she gets sucked into this world of Prythian, and there's romance. And this is where the romance gets good. Everyone knows what ACOTAR is about. I like don't even know how to explain what ACOTAR is at this point. Like, my brain cannot comprehend how to explain it without literally just going complete SJM spiral. But as we all know, House of Flame and Shadow comes out in January, and I'm trying to reread all of her books. Like, my friends in book club, I think, are just rereading the ACOTAR series, but like, I want to reread all of them before House of Flame and Shadow comes out, which is a large task because that's not very much time. So I did finally finish my reread of A Court of Mist and Fury, which is my favorite book in the series. And I gave it 5 stars, obviously, because it's a reread. I kept it with the 5-star ratings. I'm currently rereading ACOWAR, so we're picking up the pace because my friends are reading Throne of Glass for the first time, and I need to reread them now that they've been texting me about it. So I did finally finish this, and honestly, guys, this was so much better the second go-around. Like, I don't know what it was, but like, I cried more reading it the second time, and I guess because I knew, like, before Feyre knew, it just made it so much better. And that's why I'm like so stressed out about rereading ACOWAR right now, because like, I know things and I don't want to know them. So yeah, we're picking up the pace on my SJM reread. Next up is In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. This is a thriller, so essentially, and I have a reading vlog with this in it as well. I will tag all the reading vlogs in the cards as we go. But this is basically following a group of friends from college where there was a murder committed while they were at college. They're now at their college reunion, and someone is kind of forcing them to solve what happened to her because it was unsolved. And I ended up giving this 4 stars as well. I actually really liked it. I flew through this book, but at the same time, parts of it were pretty, like, predictable. And it just, like, once you read so many thrillers, they all start to blend together and become the same. So I don't think it was because it was bad. I think it's just because I've read so many. But I did really, like, enjoy this. They were very much so unhinged. Our main character, unhinged. And I love an unhinged main character. Next up is Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. If you know me, this is the second book in the, like, Dreamland Billionaires series. So each of them follow a brother. The first one is The Fine Print. And so essentially it's like a romance between him and one of the employees of Dreamland, which is essentially Disney. They're like the grandsons of the creator of Disney, but it's called Dreamland. And so this book follows, each of them basically are given like a task that they must complete in order to like secure their part of the deal. So for this book, this is the second brother, Declan, and in order for him to be able to become CEO of the company, he needs to get married and have a child. And so this one follows him basically getting into like an arranged marriage, like a fake marriage. And I did not like The Fine Print, but I did really like this one. I gave it 4 stars. I will be reading The Final Offer only because this redeemed itself from The Fine Print. The Fine Print, there was just a lot of like, that is stupid. This one was much better. So I did enjoy it, and I was really worried about it, but I did like it. So I will be continuing. I actually just bought The Final Offer. Next up, we have Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that me and my friend from book club have been steady going through our Cassandra Clare reread. Well, I've read up until Bane Chronicles, so now this is all fresh and new for me. He's read like some of the Dark Artifices, but this is brand new. We're doing publication order. I hate the novellas. I gave this 3 stars. There are like 2 stories that make it worth it. That's the only reason it gets 3 stars. But like you can just tell me this in the main series, and it's very clear, like obviously there's multiple authors. It's not just Cassandra Clare. It's very clear that Cassandra Clare didn't really have a lot to do with these. Like you can tell the writing is so different, and they're just boring. Like they're not needed. I audiobooked this whole thing, and I was just like at 1.75 speed running through it. I just played it, and sometimes I didn't really listen, honestly, because they're not needed. And I'm sorry, I love the Shadowhunter world. I love it so much, but like the novellas are just not it. They're not for me. But I'm going to continue because I'm doing it. I've committed. So now I have to fulfill the commitment. Next up, we have the 3 books that I read on my Kindle this month. So the very first one is Vicious Fae by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti, the Twisted Sisters. This is book 3 in the Ruthless Boys trilogy. So explanation, I feel like I give this explanation every month. This is the prequel to the Zodiac Academy series. It's set within the same universe. It's not really the prequel to the series, but it's like a series set like before the events, same world, okay? If you've watched any of my other wrap-ups, I did not really love the first book. The second book, I was like, wow, like, maybe, like, with Leon, I have, like, become invested. Okay, this book, it's so good. Okay, I have 2 more. I've already downloaded book 4 onto my Kindle because I'm so excited to read it. But the ending of this book, okay? Like, the ending of this book stressed me out. I, like, finally figured it out. My little tiny brain couldn't comprehend where we were going, even though it was so blatantly obvious. Just because the way that the world, like, magic is supposed to work, I was like, there's no way that this can happen. Apparently it can, because we make up our own rules in books, and we can do whatever we want. So, if you know what I'm talking about, the end of this book, someone has a divine moment, okay? And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I cannot wait. And I'm excited because I really, like, I know the new Zodiac Academy book just came out. I'm only on book 4 of that series because I'm trying to finish this one first. And so I have 2 books left. And I'm like, I can power through the last 2 books and get back to Zodiac Academy, because we left off in a very precarious situation at the end of Shadow Princess, okay? So I need to get back to that, and I'm glad that these are picking up, because I thought this was going to take me like years to finish because of I didn't really like the first one. But I'm really liking it now. I mean, most of the main like point of trying to figure out who killed her brother has kind of like fallen to the side at this point. There's other plots. So I would still like to know what happened, but that's taking way too long. We have other things that I'm also interested that make the story good. So it's okay. And then I also, if you didn't watch my reading vlog, binged in the last 4 days the Cat and Mouse duet. So Haunting Adeline is the first one. If you do not know, I don't really know how to explain these books on the internet. She's being stalked and she falls in love with him. Yeah, that's like all I'm gonna say, honestly. Like, it's a wild ride. I think you should go into it knowing nothing other than obviously read trigger warnings. But other than that, I don't think you need to know anything going into these books. And this is something I did not think I would like. This is not the kind of book I read. I do not like that kind of stuff. Or at least I thought I didn't. So I'm obsessed with Zayd Meadows. But I also know that he's a very toxic human being and like don't condone his actions. But at the same time, I'm like, he's kind of hot. So Haunting Adeline, I ended up, going back to Vicious Fae, I gave that 4 stars, sorry. But Haunting Adeline, I gave it 4 stars. I read it in like 2 days, like not even 2 full days. Like, I binged it so hard. And I knew how it was going to end. Obviously, I've like seen the internet, like I know what happens to her in book 2, and I know that book 2 is like significantly worse. And so I binged it. I was like, ugh, like I knew this was coming, but it still sucked. I hated it. And then I like literally immediately downloaded Hunting Adeline, 4 stars as well. Loved that one. That one's like a little bit harder to get through. I still read it in like 2 or 3 days. I will say Hunting Adeline, there were some parts that I skimmed a little bit because I didn't need that. You know, not like, if you read it, you understand, like, there are things that happened in the book that I'm like, I'm gonna skim this a little bit just because, like, I don't need every gory detail about it. Thank you. And I do slightly think that my mental health has been impacted because I feel very unhinged, and I was in a slight depression after I finished these books. I don't even think it was the books that caused it, but I was like not feeling great in general, and I think that reading about this didn't help my brain cells. I literally felt like I had 2 brain cells rubbing together by the end of it all, but like in a good way. So I like really was obsessed with this duet. Okay, it was really good. I enjoyed it. But it's not for everyone. Not saying that everyone shouldn't be able to read it. I'm just saying, like, it's definitely not for everyone. And I've seen a lot of drama on Book Talk very recently about this series and about H.D. Carlton, and I don't like that. So I will be reading, I know Sibby has a novella. I haven't read it yet. I'm going to, and I know she's getting a duet. And I know someone else is probably getting a book. So I will be reading all of those as well. So I didn't expect to like them as much as I did, but I did. So yeah, I'm currently reading A Quarter of Wings and Ruin. I'm rereading it. I was gonna get to page 300 last night, and then I was just so tired I went to sleep. But I'm like 200 pages in. It's starting to get like, things are going down, and I'm so excited, but I'm also stressed out. So I'm gonna really try and make a dent in that today. So I'm honestly feel like I might finish it tonight, which would make it part of my July wrap up, but probably not. I say that every single time, and then I end up not reading those books. But I really want to finish it, and then I'm like gonna probably immediately do A Court of Frost and Starlight just to knock it out quick before I take a break before A Court of Silver Flames. I have not made a TBR for August yet. It's my birth month, so I feel like I need to read good books. You know, like, they need to be good. If it's gonna be for my birthday month, I need to enjoy them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.